Hello, welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. Now, I don't mind telling you, I really do feel fucking rough as hell. I've got a bit of a cold, so yeah, don't be expecting any fantastic gameplay, as if there ever is much of that in my vids. And likewise, don't expect me to be particularly generous. Then again, you don't expect that in any of my vids either. Certainly not when certain games are being reviewed. So, speaking of which, this is Outrun for Commodore 64, which was written in 1986, published by US Gold. This is a game I really hoped I would never see again. I'm not a fan of the arcade original. I've already covered the arcade version. I'm not a fan of the Amiga version either. I've already covered that one. And now here we have the Commodore 64 version, which I did have back in the day. But the only reason I had it is because I bought 720 degrees. What a choice that was. But it didn't work, and I took it back to the shop and they didn't have any copies of it left, so I had to choose a different game. And I was actually there for a while because they really did have absolutely fuck all that interested me. And in the end I went with this. Alright, well, let's get the game underway. Now, Outrun, the arcade version had two features in it, which were the only two things that set it aside from any other racing game. The first was the hydraulics on the cabinet, which tilted the thing left or right depending on where you were turning. It would help if I actually remembered to change gear. Now obviously you're not going to get that in the conversions. And the other feature it had was being able to choose your route. When you reached the end of a level, you could choose the left or right fork in the road. And this appeared in the Amiga version, appeared in the Atari ST version, appeared in the Spectrum version, and it appeared in the Amstrad version. We're not playing any of those versions though, we are playing the Commodore 64 version. So, assuming I can get to the end of the level, which is not guaranteed. Oh, fuck, you know, especially if I keep hitting the back of a car. There we go. Well, we're on to the next stage, but where was the fork in the road? There isn't one. The Commodore 64 version of Outrun does not have the fork in the road, which is the one in-game feature that Outrun had that set it aside from every other fucking game, racing game. So because it doesn't have that feature, it means that this game that was published in 1986 has less in it than Pit Stop, which was released in 1983. So you have ultra bland fucking race game here, where you are basically going from point A to B and avoiding the cars, and that's all you're doing, and staying on the road, which I'm doing a dreadful job of because my time has just run out. I don't usually lose it on fucking stage 2, that was really shit going. AAA above that score I just entered was also me. As you saw there, I got on to stage 5 on that one. Right, let's change the music to this one, Magical Sound Shower, and have another go. And this time let's see if I can remember to actually change gear at the right time. The 64 version does have some annoying features in it. For one, when you first start the race, you start in second gear, or high gear, whatever you want to call it. So you have to change, or remember to change down to low gears before you get going, otherwise it takes you ages to actually get off the fucking start line. The other thing it has is the old business of the Ferrari symbol in the back, changing the direction it faces. When you turn right, it will then face right. Although to be fair, the arcade original does that as well, so yes, it looks shit, but so the arcade one did that, so thankfully it doesn't do it quite as bad as the Amiga version, where the two people in the car also swap seats. That really is fucking ridiculous. So, we're on to stage 2, but an Outrun without the fork in the roads. The one feature that separated Outrun from the million other fucking boring races. And also, you notice that most of the cars you're trying to overtake are Volkswagen Beetles, and you're supposed to be in a Ferrari Testarossa, and yet you seem to be struggling to pass them. You're certainly struggling if all you ever do is constantly ramming the fucking back of them like I am. Oh, for fuck's sake! Well, we actually had a Porsche there, we've got another one here as well. So there are some Porsches there, but the bulk of them are VW Beetles. Well, let's face it, the Porsche 911 is nothing more than a fucking jumped up Beetle, and I've got it as level 2 again. Well, I'll have one more go, but I really do not fancy playing this game too much. So I think, yeah, you can turn the radio off, but it doesn't mean you get any like engine sounds. It's still just the tyre squeal and everything else. Anyway, let's get the review underway. The graphics I think are extremely bland, boring, really shit in places. I mean, your car does look vaguely like the Testarossa from the arcade original, and well, in some cases I can recognise what the other cars on the road are meant to be. I'd say they're clearly either, well, for the most part, they're either Beetles or Porsche 911s. But I mean, the roadside graphics, especially these houses, I mean, look at this. The fucking front door of these houses is the same height as your car. In fact, if you go by the scale, your car is longer than these houses are wide. So, I mean, they look like shit. They look just like they've been built out of fucking Lego bricks or something. The graphics in the background of the large cloud and the hill are so unimpressive, they almost remind me of the background graphics in Knight Rider. So yeah, graphically I think the game is bland at best. Audio, the sound of the tyre squeal I think is awful, but then I thought that the tyre squeal in the arcade original was awful, so yeah. And there really isn't much else in the way of sound effects. In terms of music, I think the versions of the two tunes are terrible. I mean, with this one, it sounds like the rhythm section is being done by someone beatboxing and not doing a very good job of it either. I'm going to be stuck on stage 2 again. I'm not going to get off here because I keep running into the back of fucking cars. And I even had the fucking next stage post up ahead of me. For fuck's sake. Can't believe I can't get up level 2. But the worst aspect of the game though is, as I say, the fact that there's no fork in the roads. If you want to choose a different route on the Commodore 64, you have to look through the instructions and find the tape counter number. Well, this is assuming you're playing the tape version, which I was back in the day. It will tell you if it's the if the route you want is either the first, second, third, fourth, fifth game on the tape, and you would have to load it from there. So you can't think, okay, I'll go a different way this time. You've got to choose one set route and stick with it for the entire game. So really, what you're playing isn't Outrun. It just doesn't play like it at all. You're just playing some extremely generic fucking racer that, I'll say, actually plays worse and has less features than a racing game that was out in 1983. Oh, fuck off. So, yeah, I am not a fan, to put it mildly. So what do I score it? Well, as an arcade conversion, I score it 0 because, say, the feature that makes Outrun isn't here. Every other conversion had it. Why couldn't the 64 have it? I mean, okay, the way that the Spectrum did it in particular was pretty awful. You were constantly having to rewind and then fast forward the tape to the right part and then, fucking load from there, so it was unbelievably intrusive. But at least it still actually had the feature, the thing that made Outrun what it is. With this, they just haven't bothered, it's not here. So yeah, as a conversion, 0 out of 10, and as a game, it's pretty bland. Finally made it a level 3 for what it's worth. As a game, yeah, very bland. There is nothing here. The road routine is okay, I suppose. I mean, it does at least change its perspective as you change lanes, and if you're turning right, it's not just a case of a bend in the road, and there is something there. Fucking hell. And there are loads of cars that piss you off because you just cannot get past the fucking things. But it's such a fucking dreary game. So I score it. I don't know what I'm gonna score it. Fucking hell, on the stage 4. Well, I can't see me getting past stage 4. Yeah, I keep running into the back of cars all the fucking time. Right, so I'll score it 2 out of 10 because, well, I'll say the road routine is okay, I suppose. And although the music's shit, it is recognisable as being, the Outrun music. Oh, fucking hell, I'm on stage 5. This is the final stage. But I'm certainly not getting through this level. Some pretty dreadful colours here. Would you really be taking a fucking Ferrari of any kind? I mean, I know the Testarossa is a really shitty Ferrari, but would you really be taking it on what looks like a fucking dirt track? I say dirt track, it looks more like someone's way too much chicken tikka masala and are suffering the side effects. Alright, what time's about to run out. Well, it doesn't tell you how, or show you how far you got through the level, because you don't get that map bit coming up. So, but there we go. So that is Outrun for Commodore 64. 2 out of 10. Absolutely forgettable. And it's the only conversion that hasn't even bothered to put in the one feature that makes Outrun. So yeah, what a fucking waste of time. So that brings this review to an end, and we will see you at the next one.